Hi guys, welcome to Tiger Talk Tuesday. So I am here literally at TD Center with Dan. You got to say your last name.
Dan Basambombo.
Basambombo.
There you go.
And this is episode 13 now for transitioning to life after sports. Now, some of you might be wondering, why do I have a current CFL Redblacks player on my series Life After Sports? And one thing that I'm very passionate about is making sure that athletes know while they're in sport that their identity doesn't get wrapped around just being a player or being an athlete, right? We want to make sure, and something Dan and I did what do we do? Tammy Lafferty's the football, the Ed Lafferty event together, and what struck me was he does a lot of community work. I've noticed he's got a passion for community, but he's also quite entrepreneurial. So we'll talk more about that. But before we get going, Dan was born, he's a Congolese-born Canadian football linebacker for the Ottawa Redblacks, obviously of the CFL. He played youth sports football at Laval and was selected by the Redblacks in the second round of the 2020 CFL Draft. Now, unfortunately, his rookie season was canceled due to COVID-19, good old COVID, taking more things away from us. But he signed a contract with the team in February 2021. So we're going to jump right into it. I have posted his full bio underneath this chat, but welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So
Thank you.
Dan wins the award for the best, the background on one of these chats so far.
Welcome to my place. Welcome to my home.
All right. So let's just jump right into it.
Yes.
Obviously, what's really struck me in his story is he went from playing soccer to badminton to football.
Yes.
Tell us about that transition mentally as an athlete and what that was like for you.
Yes. Honestly, that's what makes an athlete. An athlete, you got to play multiple sports. And I feel like every sport brings you different skills. And I feel like with all these small skills, maybe badminton, I played football, I played soccer, I played basketball. And finally, I brought all these little skills I learned from different sports and brought it to a football field. Yes, a badminton player can play football too.
I love it. So he starts football at the age of 15 or so, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And
correct.
So many young football players, their dreams are to end up in a professional stadium.
Yes.
So talk to me kind of about like the emotional roller coaster, or not roller coaster, but what that was like for you as an athlete, just those transitions.
Yeah, I feel the main thing was really like discipline. If you really want to get to this level, it's discipline, right? And sometimes we think about it's about working out, it's about eating right, but it's about having a strong mentality. You got to be strong.
I love that.
Because there's a lot of up and down. Sometimes you're the best. Sometimes you're gonna get to a team where you're probably second string, third string, and you always gotta prove yourself every level you get at. And honestly, it wasn't always easy. As much as I'm here now, but I can tell you the path. You're not always the number one, right?
Yeah.
And when you get at this level, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm still not the number one.
Yeah.
Every day, every year, as much as like there's veterans, there's rookies every year, and you're always amazed by the talent. Every year I see this youngin come in and I'm like, wow, like it's not me anymore. Like I gotta make sure I'm better than this guy. I gotta make sure I'm better than this guy. And this is the beautiful thing about sport. You grow. You grow as a man, and you also grow also on the football field as well. So you gotta kind of embrace this because I think like it helps you on and off the field.
Yeah, and you strike me as someone who, as an athlete, who has a lot of depth of character. So you told me a little bit off camera that your parents were teachers. Tell me a little bit about that and how that kind of, because one thing we'll get into, Dan is an entrepreneur and has two businesses, which I'd like him to tell everyone about, but tell me kind of about that journey, how you've intertwined business with your athletics along the way and not just focused on the one thing of sports.
Yes, that's a great question. Honestly, I'm thankful to have my dad being a teacher and my parents just being in the education world, because I was a sporty guy. I was the one always taking the risky type of like career.
Yeah.
Every time I was asked, I was like, oh, I want to be a businessman. I want to be a athlete or pro athlete. And my parents were like, what about the safe route? What about going to school and just have a paper? I'm like, yes, I can do that too. But I feel like this was a great balance because it allowed me to also know how important it is. And as you go on, especially like you start maybe with a group of maybe 20 guys, and then by the time you get drafted, you're maybe by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how you gotta know, like you gotta open your options. You gotta have, I would say, a bunch of options. So like study, learn some other skills than just the sport that you do, because that's even playing sports. Don't even play one sport. Play different sports and everything's going to line up for itself. That's how I feel how life goes.
Yeah, and I love that. And look at where you've ended up today. So what, again, you seem like you have a very strong sense of self.
Yeah.
Do you have a routine that you do off camera? Like, are you into prayer, meditation? Do you journal? Do you reflect a lot? Or what is kind of your thing that keeps you so grounded and humble?
I mean, I pray a lot. You know, I come from a godly family, I can say. Mom and dad always raised me into like believing into a power, and that's what we call God, right?
Got it.
And I really pray a lot, even to the hardest time for me. It's always like, let me call God, let me talk to my God.
Yeah.
It's like my go-to every time I have like personal issues and where stuff necessarily doesn't always go my way. That's what I really do. So I feel like you need that as a balance, because like I said earlier, it's not about how strong you are, it's about how strong you are mentally. And for me, if you are strong mentally, you can do so much more than just being like, the body can break, but if the mind stays solid, you're never gonna break.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, I've been through my own hardships as well.
Yes.
So what would you say to some up and coming players, or maybe some players actually that have, you know, left sport due to unforeseen circumstances, that are dealing with that headspace right now? You know, they're not feeling as bulletproof in their mind. What would be some recommendations on how they can kind of get back to feeling like themselves again?
We're like, when we came in this world, something I really believe in is like, we're bigger than one job, right? As much you can be a lawyer or a doctor, you're more than that. You're more than that. And when you got brought to this world, like, there's so much stuff you can be grateful for. There's so much blessing you can count. And for example, me, like, football is not everything. I love football with all my heart, but I know that I can have more, I can offer more, I can bring in more. And sometimes you just gotta step back. Have a step back and have like a bigger picture. A lot of the time we're just so locked in because it's like, I want to make it to the league, and you're just locked in. You go from practice, football, and all you do is just you breathe whatever you're looking for. But when you step back and look at what the world has to offer, you're like, wow, I didn't accomplish much.
And so how old were you when you kind of discovered your businesses and stuff like that you started? Like, how old are they?
Honestly, I really started this, let's say, in college.
So tell us about your two business ventures that you also have.
Yeah. So I started a pressure washing business really recently. Got a chance to connect with great people that I met through, honestly, community services that got me into it. And I also want to thank Ottawa Housing Community, OCH, that kind of helped me through that. As well, also I started a mobile app for parking spaces, something that I've been growing for a little while now, since COVID years, and everything's just been amazing. It's been keeping me busy, and so I feel like that just showed me that, like, okay, there's more than football. And for me, till now, I'm just enjoying to balance both worlds, and it feels amazing because I'm like, oh, like, I'm an athlete, I'm a pro athlete, but I'm also a businessman. It just makes me feel more like accomplished about myself, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I love it.
So have you had any real challenging transitions that for you, because your mindset's definitely strong. I can feel it, and I can really feel you've got a great, wonderful energy about you, and you're very charismatic. Tell me about a time, though, when you felt really down. Is that, again, like, is that you go to prayer, you retract, you take some time yourself, or is that your big one?
Honestly,
or what you struggle with?
If I come back a little bit, I wasn't born in Canada. I was born in Congo. That's one thing I got to put out there. When I came here, I was 9 years old, and I couldn't speak a word of English. I was a pretty reserved guy, shy. I couldn't speak in front of people like this, and like, but if you ask my mom, my dad, the guy that landed here like a couple years ago and the guy that you see today, you're like, it's not the same person.
Two different people?
Two different persons.
That's awesome.
Just because I've learned to love myself, first of all. I've learned to also like be more open to different culture, embrace every people, because like, I mean, that's what's the most beautiful thing about the world, right? All these different people from different places, and also like being able to just embrace that, and that's going to make you even a better person for yourself and for everyone around you. And that's something I do take pride into. That's why I'm always out there in the communities. I'm always out there trying to like help, trying to see how I can be more than just Dan, right? How I can feel in your shoes, I can feel in anybody else's shoes. Yeah. So that's my main goal. Yes. Well,
I love that. And anything else in terms of for anyone that's struggling, that has either been injured or that they can't. So I don't know if you saw one of my previous interviews, but I have a gentleman who now he's bound to a wheelchair, and you know, there was some we got a lot of feedback on that interview, and I mean, his headspace just as bright as yours, but now physically he's unable to do. What advice would you have for some athletes that are going through something like that? What could they be doing for themselves?
Honestly, I feel like we're the best generation for this, because like you see so many people from different background, like different, like, you know, issues that are coming out. And just sharing it. And I'm happy that you asked me this question. I'm not necessarily, I can't say I'm going necessarily through an issue right now, as I am doing fine, and I am happy where I am personally. But you see, like, that people that have been going through those type of, let's say, trouble or issues, they're really sharing in a way that, like, you can embrace that.
Yeah.
Everything is not like a curse. You know, there's so much blessing in those stuff that we call curse or bad luck. Like, lately I've been telling my friends it's about the perception.
Yeah.
It's how you look at things.
Absolutely.
If you only look at the bad, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. But if you look at the good stuff, you're like, well, there's way more good than bad.
Absolutely.
You know, you just gotta balance.
When I used to have a fitness studio, I always used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I did not come up with that. That is a quote that I know is out there. So no,
great.
Someone's gonna burn me and
It
say
sounds
I didn't make that up. But
it's
such a great statement, and I agree with it too.
Correct.
From the lens that we view the world, right, really changes our experience, and that's why I'm very passionate about mindset and doing that type of work and self-love work, because when we show up differently, it's a ripple effect to everyone in our community, right?
Correct.
And so that's what really inspired me about you. And when I saw you and everything that you're doing, entrepreneurship, and he's busy with football. Any last words for our viewers that you'd like to leave them with, or something burning?
Something burning
that you
in my
need to
heart.
share?
Hey, one thing is, like, love yourself. Love yourself. That's one major thing that we gotta do better in this world. Sometime, if it's not your time is coming. You know, just be happy for the next person, because your time is coming, and keep believing in yourself. Never give up. And if what you had planned is not it, there's something better.
I really like that you just said be happy for people. Like, you see this a lot, especially in competition. Someone kind of gets the goal before you, or they get the position before you. But I was like that too. I was always cheering on, even when I was going through my worst times. I was always happy for my friends or family. So I love that you just said that. Keep cheering on your friends. Your time is coming. What a great piece of advice to end with. But well, thank you, Dan, for having us, thank you for coming on, and for giving us this beautiful.
Yes.
Hopefully, we're not interrupting anything else that's going on the field. But we have another athlete coming out on Thursday for Tiger Talk Thursday. But thank you, Dan, for joining us for our Life After Sports series. We're happy to have you in the lineup.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
You guys take care. Bye-bye.
See you soon, guys.